The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. I asked you last week to go for it. Anybody take me up? You know, that going for it in that sense of moving towards discipleship and holiness, prayer and ministry, those kind of things. But maybe your response to that was, no, I don't know if I can do that. I'm not quite sure. So maybe you didn't. And that's okay. Going for it, living that kind of Christian life can sometimes be a daunting task. Now, before I go on, though, I got to say to you that last week when I spoke about that passage from the Acts of the Apostles, I didn't get into the second part of the passage. The first part was, of course, about Philip, who went to Samaria and preached Christ, preached the good news of the gospel, and baptized the people. In the second part, Acts tells us that Peter and John went down and prayed for them that they might receive the Holy Spirit. It's kind of an initiation kind of thing. First is baptism, and second is confirmation. And that's really what Peter and John are doing. Praying for an outpouring of the Holy Spirit. And what happened? Well, the Spirit came upon them. And anytime you read in the Gospels, in the New Testament, even the entire Bible for that matter, an outpouring of the Holy Spirit is always accompanied by signs and wonders. Amazing things happen when the Holy Spirit comes. Miraculous things happen when the Holy Spirit comes. People who can't walk, walk. The deaf hear, the blind see. Captives are set free. Whenever the Spirit comes upon, that's what happens. When you look at today's passage from the book of Acts and take a close look, you'll see that it does not follow on last week's passage. This week's passage actually, well, last week I should say, was chapter 8. This week we go back to chapter 1. But the theme remains the same. They devoted themselves with one accord to prayer. You know, after the ascension, when Jesus went to heaven, went back to the kingdom, went back to the Father, the disciples returned to the upper room, that place where they celebrated that Last Supper with Jesus. When they returned to that upper room, they went to wait, to keep vigil, to pray for the promised Spirit. The promise that Jesus would send His Holy Spirit upon them. And if going for it is, well, a scary thing, if it's a daunting task, if you think to yourself or say to yourself, gee, He wants me to be holy, but I don't think I can be holy. He wants me to be a disciple. I haven't even got a clue as to what that's really all about. He wants me to pray more? What, is He kidding me? I don't have time to pray more and get involved in a ministry in the parish. I got 30 other things that I'm supposed to be doing. How can I do that? It's tough. It really is. And that's why it's so important to pray for the power of the Holy Spirit to come upon you. Because the Holy Spirit is the one that really gives us the ability to do everything and anything that Jesus asks of us. You know, in fact, much of what Jesus asks of us, from a very human perspective, is really impossible, or nearly impossible. Much of what Jesus asks of us is nearly impossible from a mere human perspective. Let me put it to you this way. A little survey here. I don't know how this is going to go. We'll see how it goes. A little survey here. Raise of hands. How many of you have parents or grandparents that were raised in this area, Tamaqua, you know, the surrounding area, this part of Schuylkill County, not Berks County, that's me. Not even me, Carbon County, thank you. Carbon County, how many? Raise a hand. Almost everybody, lots of people. Okay, for those of you, though, that have adult children. Okay, so not little children and not college-age children. How many of them no longer live in this area? Quite a few, right? So, and that doesn't sound too promising for our future as a community, right? And I know some of you with college-age children are looking to go elsewhere to find work and that sort of thing. And that's, you think about that and you say, what's going to happen here? It's not a very bright future for our community, right? But how much could we receive as a community, as a parish, if we prayed for and sought an outpouring of the Holy Spirit? How much more could we receive? How about a community that has economic opportunity for everyone? How about a community that is not plagued by drugs and alcohol abuse? How about a community where God and not sports take priority on a Sunday morning, or a Sunday period for that matter? How about a community where our young people know and understand that not only does God want to, but God can work in every aspect of their lives? Sound like a pipe dream? I don't think it is. You might scoff, but I don't. I think it's very possible that that can happen. Because if our needs are true, and if we are really genuine about wanting to do God's work and do God's will, and we're faithful to that, then God the Father will send the Holy Spirit upon us, and we can and we will see miracles happen. Because that's what happens with the Holy Spirit. You know, as we lead up to next Sunday's celebration of Pentecost, the birthday of the church, the new church, after communion today, instead of praying our regular 3 Hail Marys, we'll pray together the Holy Spirit prayer. And for those of you that don't know it, I'll put it up on the screen for you to be able to pray along with us. But during this week, I invite you to pray for an outpouring of the Spirit, for our community, for our parish. And if praying out to the Holy Spirit is something that you're not familiar with, or it's not something that you know how to pray, it's simple, 3 words. Come, Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit. Ask the Spirit to come upon us. Next Saturday, the vigil of Pentecost, we'll have a special holy hour, a Eucharistic holy hour, to keep vigil for Pentecost. And what's going to make it special is that it's going to start at 9 o'clock at night. And it'll only go for about an hour. I'm not going to go longer than that, because at 10 o'clock I become a pumpkin. So we'll keep it short. We'll keep it to an hour. But it's a special time. Music from yours truly. I'll do some music, some quiet time, some time to pray the rosary, and then benediction. But I invite you. We'll be over at St. Peter and Paul for that, because pumpkins can't travel very far after they turn. So I really encourage you to come out for that. And pray that the Father indeed does send the Holy Spirit upon us, on our community, on our parish, and we will indeed see miracles happen.